Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Inside the Dressing Room. I'm your host Dhaka and I have Atif Azam with me. Shakib Al Hasan, country's biggest superstar, has given an interview to Daily Sun and Atif Azam was the person who took it, and we're going to talk about all that with him and very candidly. Atif, welcome to the show. Shakib Al Hasan talked to you very candidly and after a very long time, indeed. Let me start this conversation by asking you, what made you think that Shakib is ready to give an interview, and such a huge interview?
I think that it was not done overnight. The plan was not an overnight plan. I worked on the questions for a long time. I was sharing my questions with him for a long time. He saw some questions, we altered the questions, and I waited for nearly 2.5 years for the interview because it's a long time. I wanted something big from Shakib.
Right.
And knowing him, and he knows me very well, so he promised me that I will give you something big.
Right.
Something big that will cherish as an interview.
Right.
And he kept his word. But the problem is that at times I was impatient whether I'll get it or not. And the biggest challenge for me or for this whole interview is that whether I'm from cricket background. I mean cricket background, I mean from sports background.
Right.
Politics is something that's not very...
We don't usually tap as sports journalists.
Yeah, and that's not very common with me. So this whole Daily Sun team, from the editor, from you, from Alamina, all others, they
The
all
chief
work
reporters,
together. Everyone all work together for these questions.
And
I think that was important thing. And second thing is that being a journalist, though I look quite old and I'm becoming old, I wanted to have something to cherish upon.
Right.
I think that it was the perfect interview for me to...
Atif, of course, we all read the interview. That's been the talk of the town for the day, and all the media have been following our story on Daily Sun. But one thing I noticed about this interview was that something exceptional was that the length of it. Shakib is someone who's a man of very few words. Other than cricket, he usually doesn't talk about various issues. But what do you think? What made him talk about all these different various issues to you?
Probably it was a Saturday evening in America.
Right.
He was supposed to give the interview the previous day, Friday. It was basically he was supposed to give it on Thursday. Then he shifted the date on Friday, and then he said that let's do it on Saturday evening in American time. And I mean, Shakib remains busy most of the time with his child. I mean, busy with his family, and something that he's really. For me, it looks like he's very happy to be with his family. He couldn't get that time for the last several years, so he's busy with his children. So the timing was that, the biggest part of the timing was that when he was giving that interview, he made sure that there should be no time limit. And in this whole course of conversation that I had with him, I always insisted that let's not do the interview on time boundary. But we all, how many minutes do you want? I want 10 minutes.
Right.
10 minutes will be sufficient for me. 20 minutes will be sufficient for me. But this interview, the length of the interview was huge. I mean, huge means huge.
Yes. He talked roughly 1.5 hours, I think. You told me something like that. 1.5 hours to 2 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's huge from Shakib's part. But another
and that too without any. I mean, wherever he talks, he takes money. I mean, he takes money. I mean, most of the time
he charges for his interviews.
He charges. Brands, big brands are involved in his interviews. But this time round, he probably.
Right. Let's get us into the interview. Shakib talked about his political affiliations, his political aspirations, and the most talked about point was that he said it was not a mistake joining the politics. Do you agree with him as a journalist?
But as a journalist, I cannot agree or disagree with anything.
Yes, of course.
Because For me, it's his side of the story. It's his side of the story that I tried to bring out. It's his side of the thought that I wanted to reveal. That he does not believe that, according to him, he does not believe that he was wrong doing politics. Because what he wanted to say is that my intentions were good, and when your intentions is good, you don't have to worry about anything. That it did not work out. But even if it did not work out, you cannot question my intentions. That's the major cracking point of that interview. It's that his intention, whether his intention was right or not. But doing about his political career, if I want to see, then he roughly went to Magura for 3-4 days after becoming the MP.
MP, yes.
Before the MP, I was in Magura. I had the privilege to cover to an extent, cover his election campaign. I saw him how he worked. That was 20 days. But after that winning the election, he again opted for cricket. Because what he wants to say is that this becoming a politician, he was not a total politician. He just bought a ticket so that after completing his cricket career,
he could service the people of his district.
He could enter politics smoothly. But if he had the ambition to be a full-time politician right away, then he would have quitted cricket. Then he would have said that I wanted to work in Magura, I want to stay in Magura and all this. Because he knows how to balance his thing. He knew that I cannot be a full-time politician now, so it's rather I concentrate on my cricket, and then after quitting cricket, I would go for a full-time politician. I mean, whether you just asked me the question whether it was right or wrong for him to, you cannot question a person who is saying that his intention was right.
Right.
Whether it worked out or not is a debatable thing.
Right.
Whether the party that he belonged, it's a debatable thing.
Right. Atif, another thing Shakib mentioned about that, it was as he was Shakib Al Hasan, his name popped up in almost all the cases, but I'm talking about, of course, the crab farm and, of course, the stock markets, his business ventures. Shakib specifically mentioned that no one asked about who were their partners, who were his partners, who were the other ones involved. Everyone talked about Shakib Al Hasan. Do you think he's the victim of his own fame, or he's playing a victim?
I think we could not embrace the stature of Shakib. I mean, if I recall his full career, then more often than not, he had a lot of problems with Bangladesh Cricket Board.
Of course.
And most of the time, cricketers wanted to dominate him.
Wanted to control him in a sense.
Wanted to control him. So that is one thing that always worked against him. Another thing is that he doesn't feel the necessity of having a good PR team.
Right.
A lot of our big cricketers
Right.
have a very, very big PR team.
PR team, yeah, exactly.
But Shakib, because you know why this interview, he knows that after this interview probably he'll give a couple of interviews or not, but he doesn't feel that I do need to talk with people.
Right.
Because if he had that felt that he need to talk, he doesn't need that. He lives in his own world. He knows that
He's a bit aloof from the public eye and keeps himself separated, right?
Yeah, because I think that what we were trying to project Shakib as an angry man or a very
arrogant person.
Very arrogant person,
Yes.
things like that. Throughout my career, I have not seen him acting arrogantly, at least not with me. Whereas I've had the pleasure or say the experience of seeing other cricketers acting arrogantly with me. It varies from people to people, but what I feel is that he's not victim of his fame. He just wanted to had a glass covered around him, and that is not his problem. That is the problem of the time he had with HP side.
Right.
When he was in the HP side, McKenzie came. Some coach came, and McKenzie, some coach came, and there in that very early stage, he was told that journalists are not friends.
Right.
And he took that into his heart.
Right.
And that's why he's like this.
Right. Atif, let us end this conversation with.
And the crab and the other thing that you have just asked, the crab questions, the crab farm questions, and he's ready to comply with all kind of investigations,
investigation,
provided
yes.
he is given security. It's not his security, it's that he said that I don't want to be in a mess. I mean, going to Bangladesh and then out of nowhere, a lot of charges being labeled against me. Unnecessarily, I don't want to be. I want to get assured, but he's ready to cooperate anyway, and he's talking about it.
Right. Atif, let us end this conversation with the point which one of the many of the fans picked, that he still sees a future with Bangladesh cricket, and he wants to quit from Bangladesh, playing in Bangladesh, and he wants to see himself again in the red and green. Do you think it's, given the circumstances, given the time we are living in, it is going to be possible?
Do we have a replacement of Shakib as of now?
Not yet, of course. And a player like Shakib cannot be replaced, mind you.
So, I don't think that we can have a replacement in 1 year time. If that is the case, then why not?
Right.
If only a young player who is right now replacing Shakib plays in such a way that we forget what Shakib could do, in that case we could have said that it's not possible. But I don't think that. I don't think that Shakib replacement can be earned in a day or two.
Right.
I know that it's quite difficult for him to get back to the Bangladesh side. I know a dream that will not remain full. That
a lot of complications is.
Right. But if I know him from a close quarter, if he wants, he can stay for 1 or 2 years. That he told me that in the interview. He told me that he's still got 1 or 2 years left.
Right.
So, and the way he have, and after that, rectifying his bowling action, he is ready to fight.
Atif, we only can hope that Shakib keeps fighting, and we, of course, as fans, we want to see him one last time with the red and green. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that was another episode of Inside the Dressing Room. I'll see you tomorrow with another new episode. Till then, you take care.
For more updates, follow us on Facebook, subscribe our YouTube channel, get the latest update on www.daily-sun.com.